everybody, and welcome back to Social Studies in Isolation. We are winding down here. We're on the last week of school here, so this video, maybe one more, we'll see how things go. Is going to conclude things for at least a summer break for Social Studies in Isolation. Hopefully we are out of isolation by the time we get back to school next year, but we may include more videos as we go forward. So first things first, let's kind of get a recap here. Mustache Madness has ended. For those of you that have been following intently, the winner of Mustache Madness was Theodore Roosevelt. Exciting to me. Like I said at the beginning, I'm a little bit biased here, but exciting to see that he won. I think he does have a lot of great things that he accomplished during his life throughout that. So that puts the close on Mustache Madness. Potentially the last thing we're going to talk about then is our topic today, and we are going to answer the question, why is meat so expensive and why is gas so cheap? Now, the subset of that is a lesson on supply and demand. So we're going to get the very basics of supply and demand. So let's get going. So since the COVID-19 outbreak, a lot of us have been stuck at home, but you have gone out and about a little bit and you've noticed some price changes, very drastic price changes. And one of those is gas. You drive around town, or maybe you don't move around town very much, but you've seen that gas prices have absolutely dropped. In our area, gas prices actually got down right to about $1. I know there were certain places where it was below $1, which is crazy to think that they are that low. Another big thing that's changed is the price of meat in stores. You go to a store, you want to buy some hamburgers or some steak or some ground beef or whatever it is, and you've noticed that the prices of meat have skyrocketed. So what is going on? Why is gas so cheap? And then why is meat and other foods so expensive? Or why is it missing altogether?
Hello? Where is the meat?
So the easiest way to look at this is to understand the laws of supply and the laws of demand. And to understand that, it's best to look at the charts. So here we go. So the two main things that fit into what our prices are when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the gas station, are supply and demand. Obviously, there's other things involved, but these are the two main ones. So first off is your supply curve. So supply, this is talking about how much is a company willing to supply. How much meat is, let's say, Tyson Foods going to supply into the meat market? Well, the lower the price that people are going to pay, the less they're willing to supply because they can't make as much money. So if people are only going to be paying $1 for the meat, then that means I'm not going to give you very much of it. If you're going to pay $7, then I'm going to supply a whole bunch of it. And then the other curve is the demand curve. So this is you, the consumer, the customer. What are you willing to buy? So demand is the opposite. If it costs $7, you're not going to buy very much. So you have price over here, $7. I'm not going to buy any. That's way too expensive. If the price is $1, then yeah, I'll buy all kinds of it because it's really cheap. So demand curve, the higher the price, the less I will pay. So price is on the left and the quantity I will buy is on the bottom. Supply curve then, the higher the price, the more I will supply. So low price means low quantity down here, and then high price is going to be higher quantity. So that's the supply and demand curves. And what happens in the market is we meet at this middle point. We call it the equilibrium. So the idea is at that point, the supplier is willing to supply it and the consumer demands it. And so that's where we are going to set our price at, is that equilibrium. So what does that have to do with what's going on in the world today? So first off, let's go up with the price of food, specifically meat in the grocery store. So the problem with meat in the grocery store right now is there's not as much of it. Why is that? Well, you had packing plants that had to shut down. So these different packing plants, because of the COVID-19 situation, shut down. So that means your supply and demand curves are going to change. So this is what they usually are. Well, since the packing plants shut down, they're not shipping out as much meat, which means the supply goes down. Anytime we talk about going down, we talk about going to the left. So now you have a new supply curve over here. So the supplier says, I don't have as much of it, so I'm going to shift in a decrease over to here. So you went from the original line on the one side, the original supply curve is here, and now I decreased my supply because the packing plant shut down, and so now I have a new equilibrium, and so that means the price is going to go up. So I'm going to charge more for meat in the grocery store, and I'm also going to produce less of it. So my price went up. I went up in price, and I went down in the quantity that I am going to supply. So that is why you're going to see this change take place. So we have a decrease in the quantity that is going to be purchased, and we have an increase in the price. So that is why, in simple terms, the price of meat and the availability of meat has gone down, because those packing plants shut down and supply had to decrease. So let's look at gas. So everybody got really excited because all the gas prices went down. Well, why did that happen? Well, the reason is because everybody was at home. Airplanes were on the ground, cruise ships were in the docks, and cars were in the garages. People weren't going to work, people weren't going on vacation, which means we have a decrease in the demand for gasoline. So your original price might have been, let's say, $2. It was probably more than that, but let's say it was $2. Everybody stays home, so that means our demand curve, our blue one, is going to move. It's going to decrease. Remember, the decrease always goes to the left. So now I have a new demand curve over here. So that means that people are not buying as much gas because they're staying home. So what happened to our price? Well, our price is the left side. Price went from $2 down to, let's say, $1.25. And the quantity that they demand has also gone down. I used to demand a whole bunch of gas. Well, now that we're all sitting at home, that has changed as well. So that is the very, very basic economics of supply and demand. There's 100 other factors that go into this, but those are the main reasons to think of when we think of why is gas cheaper and why is meat more expensive and less available in the grocery store. So hopefully that helps you understand what happened to gas and meat and other items during this time period. And you can also apply that to other things as well. Toilet paper, Clorox wipes, why did they get more expensive? Why did we run out of them? Well, the demand took off, and so we did not have enough supply in place, and so the prices get up and they go higher. You could apply this during normal times too. It doesn't have to be a pandemic. During normal times, maybe you have a shortage of a certain fruit when it's off season. So the supply decreases, and so the price is going to go up. Or if you think about something like cars, maybe car manufacturers have slowed down, and so there is going to be a decrease in supply of cars, and so that goes up. Or we think of seasonal things. The demand for swimming pools obviously takes off in the summer. So that demand curve shifts to the right. That's an increase in demand. So you could apply this to many, many things. Supply and demand are the very basic things that make up kind of our market economy and what the prices become.
That'll be 40.
40? No, 10.
Oh dear, that's no good. See, this is from our winter stock, where supply and demand have a big problem.
You want to talk about a supply and demand problem? I sell ice for a living.
Ooh, that is a rough business to be in right now. I mean, that is really... That's unfortunate.
Still 40, but I will throw in a visit to Okansana. Woohoo! Hi, family!
So hopefully that gives you a little bit better understanding of what's going on around the world. Once again, throughout all this, I appreciate everybody for tuning in to Social Studies in Isolation. This started out as kind of our voluntary curriculum for our kids, and I know we branched out a little bit beyond my students, so I appreciate everybody that's watched. It may come back in the future. We'll see how things go. But as for now, hopefully, as usual, you are staying healthy, you're staying safe. Have a great day and possibly a great summer if I don't see you throughout all that time. See you later.